Hey everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming, and today for you, I have a brand new character build for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. This is going to be a companion build for the Paladin Seelah that you get at the very beginning of the game. Now this is going to be the beginning of series of builds. Now the idea of these builds are to be thematic. They're going to work within kind of the limitations and strengths and weaknesses of your companion classes. They are going to be extremely in-depth, as are all of my build guides, so make sure to take advantage of the timestamps to jump around to whatever sections you want to see. We're going to be showing full level 1 to 20 progression, plus 1 to 10 mythic progression, plus for pet mount progression from 1 to 20. All of that with recommendations and explanations why certain elements are important. Now, this build I am calling the Panzer Blitz build because Seelah is going to be kind of giving up her paladin ways, and instead she's going to bestially be charging in on her trusty mount and just absolutely going berserk, trampling enemies, and just really being the center of attention, really tanking and making sure that your party stays strong. And it is guaranteed that with this build, Seelah is going to trample her enemies. They're going to be driven before her, and we're going to hear the lamentation of their loved ones. So make sure to check out this build and all the details right after this. Alright guys, so to begin this build, I do want to point out with Seelah, chances are she's going to be higher than level 2 by the time you find this guide. So the first things you're going to need to do is go ahead and respec her. Now, if you're still in the beginning of the game, you can find this individual here, Hilor, at the Defender's Heart. You can go there to recruit new heroes, but also to respec. If you're in Act 2, you're going to find him here at the stables in your Crusader camp. So it's a little counterintuitive, but when you talk to him, he's got an option that says, "My companions and I need good training," which may make you think, what is this? But really, this is a respec option. Select her, and it's going to take her back. Now, do note that you can't pick her base class. So she's going to be basically level 1, leveling into level 2. That means there's certain things that we can't respec. She's going to come with dodge. She's going to come with shield focus, for example, and pickpocket as a background. So all those things we cannot control, but that's going to be okay. Now we are going to start at level 2 with taking a second level in Paladin because we do want to get Divine Grace. It's going to let us apply our charisma modifier to our saving throws. Now when it comes to our skills, we are going to be putting all of our points as we level up into athletics, mobility, and then we're going to be doing persuasion initially for starters. Now at level 3, we are going to take a hard turn, get away from Paladin, and we are now actually going to go ahead and go into Cavalier. And more particular, for this specific build, we are going to go with Beast Rider. Now we pick up Beast Rider because we want to get a very particular pet. And a pet we're going to get for this build is going to be the Mastodon, because it's going to be really, really tanky, and very specifically, it's going to get the trample ability that we'll discuss a little bit later. But basically, it lets you overrun enemies, do damage to them, knock them prone potentially, and just cause a lot of havoc, which is very in line with kind of the theme that we're going with for this build. Now, you're going to notice that Cavaliers get more skill points than Paladins per level. So we're going to be able to basically, even at the same intelligence level, get some additional benefits. So one of the first things we're going to do is we are going to be constantly pumping up mobility to max. We're also going to pump up persuasion and then athletics. Those all make sense because notice how now athletics and mobility are class skills. Before they were not. That is going to be important. Now, as far as the first major feat goes, we want to get Boon Companion. We want our pet to be as powerful as possible, our pet companion. because they're going to do the majority of tanking for us initially. So you can think of us as a double tank. When we are riding our pet, when enemies attack, they're going to attack your companion first. And then, of course, any kind of AoE abilities can still hit you. But the idea here is we want that pet as tanky as possible so that we stay alive as long as possible while also maintaining the mobility benefits, etc. Now, for the order choice, we're going to pick Order of the Sword. This is especially helpful for some of the later abilities, like getting an extra saving throw bonus and a mounted mastery ability, and a nice bonus with the Night Challenge. And we'll look at that as we go on. Order of the Lion is kind of nice too. It adds more AC to yourself and allies. But I like the mounted mastery element. And this is one way to increase your DPS as well. Because we're going to be focusing so much on our defensive capability, this is a nice way to make up for some of those DPS buffs right away. Now we're also going to get a Tactician bonus feat. And there are a couple options here for you. If you are going to be playing along with another character that has a shield, especially early on, then get Shield Wall. If not, then you have a couple other options. Now there are two initial alternatives if Shield Wall isn't going to work for you. Precise Strike is pretty good to increase damage with other flanking allies, or if you want to increase your saving throw by 1. But we'll go ahead and do Shield Wall, just assuming there's going to be at least one other character you kind of tank with. So that's the one we're choosing for this build. But remember, you can choose either of the other two that are pretty solid as well. Now for the Animal Companion, we're going to choose the Mastodon. Again, in a lot of builds, my most recommended one would be the Smilodon or the Black Smilodon. This one has the highest kind of DPS. But we're going for pure tanking capacity and also for crowd control. So what we like about this is you're going to get more. You're going to get basically 10 natural armor by the time you're 7th level. Really good stats. And you're going to gain that trample, which is basically an overrun. And that's going to really help out. You're going to be able to run through enemies, knock them prone, do extra damage. So this is going to be really good for controlling the battlefield. At level 4, we're going to pick up the 2nd level of Cavalier. Now stat-wise, we're going to go ahead and pump Charisma. So Charisma is going to help you out with all of your saves. And also the Cavalier does have some of its abilities that do work off of Charisma as well. So this is going to be a really good stat to pump. Now again, we have 4 skill points. So the 3 that are kind of preset is you want to get Athletics, you're going to want to get Mobility, and we're going to get Persuasion. You may be wondering why Mobility. Well, we're going to be using this to kind of help protect our pet, our companion pet. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. That leaves you with 1 more point. And whatever you want to put this in. Now you could do Trickery, that's natural, for example. What I'm just going to do for this build is I'm actually going to put it in Perception. The main reason for this is this gives you chances to kind of find traps or hidden objects. Because you're going to be taking point here oftentimes, having even some sort of chance of finding a trap before you run into it head first is beneficial. So while this may not be optimal, as Perception is not a class skill for us, getting this pumped up a little bit can still be quite helpful, and you can still find, while you may not be able to find all the greatest treasures, you should be able to find quite a few traps. Now moving forward to save time on this build, because it's already going to be long, I'm going to be basically putting these 4 points every time I level up. The only times I may come back and show this is if there's a feat or feature that will impact this directly. Otherwise, just note that anytime you level up, make sure you put the points to Athletics, Mobility, Persuasion, and then again, if you're following me, you can do Perception, or again, it's up to you. If there's another skill that you have class skill marked here, and you need it for your composition, well, then go ahead and choose that. Now, at level 2, you're going to get By My Honor, and this is kind of interesting. Basically, you have to pick an alignment, and as long as you maintain it, you're going to get a +2 save bonus to 1 saving throw. That's pretty nice. So the only reason you would probably go away from an alignment in general with a Cavalier is if you were going down a specific mythic feat, but because you don't want to lose your Paladin powers, you need to stay lawful good. So pick whichever one you want. You can pick, Fortitude, Reflex, or Will. Your highest save is going to be naturally Fortitude. It should be, so either Reflex or Will are going to be good ones to pick. So in my case, I'll go ahead and start with just Willpower to get that up so we don't get mind controlled or feared early on. At level 5, we pick up level 3 of Beast Rider. And for the feat, we're going to pick up Mounted Combat. And this is important because now you're going to be able to start help protect your mount with your mobility skill. Currently, your mobility skill isn't gigantic yet, but in time it will be quite nice. Level 6, and we're going to get 4th level of Cavalier Beast Rider. I also want to point out that back at level 3 of Cavalier, we received Cavalier's Charge. This is quite nice. So you make more accurate charges. So the Cavalier receives a +4 bonus on melee attack rolls on a charge while mounted instead of +2. And in addition, you do not suffer a penalty to AC after making a charge while mounted. Normally you get a -2 AC. This is important because you're going to want to be charging in whenever possible just to kind of get to wherever you need to go. And normally that -2 penalty to AC is a bummer. So this is a nice little bonus. At level 7, we are going to go and pick up the 5th level of Cavalier Beast Rider. And we are going to go ahead and get Banner from this. So at this level, your banner becomes a symbol of inspiration to allies and companions. As long as the Cavalier banner is clearly visible, all allies within 60 feet receive a +2 bonus on saving throws against fear and a +1 morale bonus on attack rolls as made part of a charge. And then it's going to upgrade. So if you have other characters in your party that are charging around, this is going to help with their attack rolls. So that's a nice little bonus. Now for the feat at this level, we're actually going to get skill focus, and we're going to select mobility. So we're going to be getting +3 to mobility, and eventually it's going to pump up to +6. That's going to really help us to, again, proc mounted combat and some of the other buffs that are based off mobility for us. Level 8, and we're going to pick up the 6th level of Cavalier Beast Rider. We're also going to be getting a bonus feat here. Now stat-wise, we're going to continue to pump that charisma because, again, it's going to provide us numerous benefits. Now for the bonus feat, we're going to pick Mounted Shield. So this allows us to add your base shield bonus, including bonus from shield focus, but not including enhancement bonuses, to your mount's AC. And again, as mentioned prior, our mount is going to be kind of our first line of defense, so we want to make sure its armor class is as high as possible. Level 9, and we're going to get level 7 of Beast Rider. And for our main feat here, we're going to pick Indomitable Mount. So once per round, when your mount fails a saving throw, you can make a mobility check. Your mount makes its saving throw if the mobility check result is greater than the DC of the opponent's attack. So again, what we're seeing here is across these two feats, Mounted Combat and Indomitable Mount, you can now have basically a second chance to save your mount from either getting hit by a melee attack or given basically another chance to make a saving throw. And synergizes really well with us trying to get that mobility as high as we can. At level 10, we're going to get our 8th level of Beast Rider. Now at this level, you're going to get a really nice buff to your charges from Order of the Sword. So first and foremost, you're going to get Mounted Mastery. And basically, whenever you make a charge attack while mounted, you add your mount's strength modifier to the damage roll, in addition to your own. So you're going to have high strength. Your Mastodon's going to have a ton of strength. And then you're going to receive a bonus feat. And the bonus feat we're going to choose is Spirited Charge, which basically says when mounted and using charge attack, you deal double damage with melee weapons. So remember, you're doubling the damage, and then you're adding your own modifier as well as the modifier from your mount. Now, another thing I want to point out is you can have multiple weapon sets on your character that you can easily swap. So what you can do is before combat, you can have basically a nice juicy two-hander equipped. So when you charge in, you do massive damage of that. And then as soon as you make contact, you can pause, swap over to your sword and shield, for example. And as long as you're going to be in combat, you can kind of stay there. And then if you're going to charge again, pause the game and swap over to your two-handed weapon, so that you can get these massive charge attacks. Now, the downside to charges is it's not a full attack. You only attack once, but the mobility plus all these massive elements are just absolutely bonkers and can be really, really, really powerful and very, very helpful. All right, at level 11, we're going to get level 9 of Beast Rider. Now, for the main feat, we're finally going to pick up Power Attack. And especially since this is going to be a big deal once we start stacking all these charging bonuses together. Now, we're also going to get a bonus, basically, team feat. And at this point, we do qualify for Outflank. We were not high enough level. We didn't have a high enough base attack bonus to get it last time. But this is a great offensive one, so that whenever one of your allies that also has Outflank, it's going to increase your flanking bonus to attack rolls to +4. Normally, it's +2. And what's great about this, also, when you do crit, it's going to provoke an attack of opportunity from your ally. So this is a really nice one to add on. So you're probably either having Outflank and Precise Strike, or Outflank and how I have currently Shield Wall, either one of those combinations. Now, I also want to kind of point out an extra factor of those team feats. I didn't mention this at level 1, I should have, but basically at level 1, you're able to share for free your specific team feat as a standard action to allies within a 30-foot range. And they can use it for 3 rounds plus retain the use of that feat for 3 rounds plus 1 round for every 2 levels of Cavalier. And they don't have to meet the prerequisites. So if you don't want to give these feats to them as they level up, this is a way. Now, what's key about this level that we just had, level 11, is that we can now use it as a swift action, which is big because you could basically, when you're in combat, utilize this as a swift action and still attack, for example. So this is quite nice, and it's a nice upgrade at this level. Right, level 12, when we get level 10 of Beastmaster, we continue to pump up Charisma. And also, just a quick reminder at this level, since there's not that much, that we keep pumping up Athletics and Mobility. Notice our mobility is getting pretty decent now. We still have a minus penalty from wearing heavy armor, but because of the skill focus, this is still decent. And our Perception and Persuasion aren't bad either. Level 13, and we see us get level 11 of Beast Rider. Now, at this level, we're going to get Mighty Charge, and this is another giant step for this build. So at this level, Cavalier learns to make devastating charge attacks while mounted. You're going to double the threat range of any weapon wielded during a charge while mounted. This is huge because regardless of which weapons you have, this is like getting, the feat that lets you extend that crit range for a specific weapon. But instead of having to have multiple feats to account for whichever weapons you may be using, this is good for all of them. Do note it does not stack with other effects that increase threat range of the weapon. So there's literally no reason to waste your feats on that. You just get it whenever your charge is nice. In addition, the Cavalier can make a free bull rush and trip combat maneuver if the charge attack is successful. So this is really, really quite nice. So if you charge in successfully, you can basically try and run, kind of like push them back, knock them over, which is can be very, very nice, especially if they get knocked prone. You're going to be able to proc attacks of opportunity. Also, what's important is your free combat maneuvers do not provoke attacks of opportunity. So baseline, if you don't have improved bull rush, for example, or improved trip, you would normally proc an attack of opportunity and against you. So you don't have to do this, and this will happen automatically if you succeed because it is a free action. So this is really a nice buff overall, especially since your charges are getting so devastating. Now you are going to be kind of the main tank of the group. So while your companion mount is going to be quite tanky, you need to make sure that you're really, really decked out when it comes to your saves as well. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and transitioning to buffing some of our saves. We're going to go ahead and start with Improved Iron Will. This is going to give us +2 bonus on all will saving throws. At level 14, we're going to go ahead and get level 12 of Beast Rider. We are going to get an upgrade to our challenge. So we have demanding challenge. So at this level, whenever Cavalier declares a challenge, your target must pay attention to the threat he poses. As long as the target is within the threatened area of the Cavalier, it takes a -2 penalty to its AC from attacks made by anyone other than the Cavalier. So that is a nice way to kind of control what's getting attacked. Additionally, we're going to get another bonus feat. Now, when talking about demanding challenge, I just want to re-emphasize what the base challenge does. So this is something that we got way back at level 1. So once per day, you can challenge a foe to combat. It's a swift action. They choose one target within sight to challenge. The Cavalier's melee attacks deal extra damage whenever the attacks are made against the target of his challenge. And the extra damage is equal to the Cavalier's level. So imagine going in and doing the charges at this level, just how much extra damage is going to be doing, plus all the multipliers. The Cavalier can use this ability once per day at first level, plus 1 additional time per day for every 3 levels beyond first, so a maximum of 7 times per day at 19th. So it's important to note, challenging a foe requires much of the Cavalier's concentration. You take a -2 penalty to your armor class, except against attacks made by the target of the challenge. So this is important that you want to use this mainly when you're kind of in isolation. You do not want to be using this challenge if there's like 10 mobs on you, because then all of a sudden you're so focused on that one target, but you're getting beat up by the other target. So just be very careful when you utilize this ability. Now for the bonus feat, we're going to go ahead and take Hammer the Gap. So this is nice. When you're actually locked into combat, you're going to be making full attacks whenever you're not charging or trampling with your mount. And so those consecutive hits are going to deal extra damage to the enemy. And it's, of course, this extra damage is going to get multiplied if you do crit. Now for your bonus feat, we're going to go ahead and choose to do Carnugin Smash, which basically, anytime we damage an opponent with a power attack, which is going to be all of our attacks pretty much, you can make an immediate Persuasion Intimidate check as a free action to attempt to demoralize your opponent. So this should proc like immediately. And if you make that check, it's going to basically provide a -2 attack debuff for a round for the enemy. So that's the equivalent of kind of giving you or anybody they target for a round extra AC, equivalent of 2 AC. And if you beat their check by quite a bit, I believe it's for every 5 extra kind of scores that you beat the roll by, it lasts an extra round, and this can stack the durations, for example. So this is a nice way, again, of debuffing the enemy that you're focusing. Level 15, and we're going to go ahead and get the 13th level of Beast Rider. And since we just picked up Carnugin Smash, it makes sense to buff it. And in order to do that, we're going to get Intimidating Prowess. So what's nice about this is you're going to add your Strength modifier to your Persuasion skill when used to Intimidate, like when you use that ability check, in addition to your Charisma modifier. So your Strength modifier is also going to be really high, so you're going to be constantly hitting with that ability. So that's going to be great consistent debuff now that you have this feat. All right, level 16, you're going to get level 14 of Cavalier. The big thing here is you're going to get Greater Banner. So your banner becomes a rallying call to your allies. All allies within a 60-foot radius receive a +2 morale on saving throws against charm and compulsion spells and effects. So this is really nice and helpful because, again, last thing you want is people in your party to lose control, to get charmed, to basically mind controlled. That is no good. Now at level 16, you're going to be facing, your last 2 points you're going to get here. At 16 and a 20, so you can pump up 1 more score by 2 points. You can, of course, bump Strength, maybe Constitution. In our case, I'm just going to keep bumping Charisma to get that eventually to a natural 20, because, again, it's going to help with all our saves and also some of these other abilities that we saw that utilize Charisma as a stat. So that is a nice boost to give. At level 17, we're going to get the level 15 of Beast Rider, and this is going to help complete the buffs from Order of the Sword. And so the final buff is that you're going to get Knight's Challenge. So the Cavalier can make a Knight's Challenge once per day. This functions like a normal challenge, but the Cavalier adds his Charisma bonus on all attack rolls and damage rolls made against the target of his challenge. In addition, he receives a +4 circumstance bonus on attack rolls made to confirm critical hits against the target of his Knight's Challenge. So this is like a super powered, roided up challenge. You want to obviously save this for any kind of boss characters you're facing, since you're only going to get to use it once a day. But again, you're going to be hitting everything, you're going to be critting like crazy. This is that one-on-one challenge that you're going to bust out anytime you have an epic battle that you need to make sure you win and dominate. All right, now when it comes to our main feat at this level, we're going to go back to buffing saving throws. We're going to pick up Lightning Reflexes to give it +2 bonus there. At level 18, we're going to get level 16 of Beast Rider. At level 19, we're going to go ahead and get level 17 of Beast Rider. And we're going to be getting our final bonus Tactician feat. Now for the final main feat, I'm actually going to pick up Persuasive. Now, I do want to point out, if you're feeling confident with your defenses, you could have picked this up earlier if you really want to, instead of one of these, Iron Will or Lightning Reflexes. But what's nice about this is this is going to give you bonuses to both Persuasion, which you use on numerous fronts, and also your Perception, which again, unfortunately, isn't a class skill, so this kind of helps make up for that a little bit. And at these levels, you obviously have had more than 10 points in both of them. It's going to be +4 to both of them. So I like this. If for whatever reason you don't like this option, because we are kind of like at the really end game here as well, you're more than welcome to just get improved Lightning Reflexes or improved Iron Will. The main thing here is that this is mainly Persuasive, really comes in handy after you pick up Intimidating Prowess and your Cornugan Smash, because again, we want that plus bonus to Persuasion to buff our debuffs, that demoralizing debuff. That's why we don't get this super early in the game. It's not going to help us nearly as much. We want to basically synergize these feats. So again, in this case, I'll go ahead and pick this up here. And for the final Tactician bonus feat that we're getting, so again, in this our current example, I picked up Shield Wall and Outflank. And then in this case, I'll go ahead and pick up Precise Strike, which is kind of nice. And again, don't forget that you get to, a couple times a day, you're going to be able to share these for numerous rounds with all your allies, even if they don't pick up on these. So when you're in a big fight, you're going to be able to provide all these bonuses to your party members. So again, to maximize DPS at this point, we're going to go ahead and add Precision Strike. And then finally at level 20, we're going to get level 18 of Beast Rider. This is also going to give us our final attribute point. In my case, I'm maxing out Charisma at 20. And for my final choice, again, you can kind of pick whatever you want at this final stage. But I just went ahead and added Hammer to Gap. It's going to just do a little extra damage per attacks. Obviously, the more attacks you have in a round, the more this will be helpful. So at higher levels, you're going to have a lot of attacks. So this is going to be it's going to exponentially increase its value, even though you can get it as early as level 6, for example. So this is going to be kind of our little mini capstone to just kind of finish up our damage boost here. So we'll go ahead and pick that up. All right, next we're going to go ahead and look at the mythic levels. So at Mythic Level 1, we want to go ahead and pick up Mythical Beasts. So this is going to really buff up and continually to buff up our companion, our mount, upping its strength, dexterity, constitution, and also making their attacks ignore damage reduction. Very, very nice, very, very powerful. And Mythic Level 2, we're going to, for our Mythic feat, we're going to actually pick extra Mythic ability. And the Mythic ability that we're going to pick is Mythic Charge. Because again, this class is going to be charging around a lot compared to just about any other class. and your charge attacks deal additional divine damage equal to 1d6 per mythic rank. So even right off the bat, that's 2d6. And as you go up, this is going to go up to 10d6 divine damage. So very, very potent. At Mythic Level 3, we're going to go ahead and pick up Thundering Blows as a mythic ability. So this is useful, especially when you start smashing all your multi-attacks. You're going to inevitably miss some, and this is going to do a really nice big AoE, or not necessarily AoE, but just targeting multiple enemies, I guess. So I guess you could say AoE damage that is sonic damage, which again is rarely resisted. So that's a really nice AoE DPS boost for you. Mythic Level 4, and we're going to go ahead and pick up Shield Focus Mythic. So this is going to add your shield bonus and your shield's enhancements bonus to your touch AC. So going to help you out with those situations where some of those magical creatures that can just basically touch you bypass all of that beautiful armor you have to help protect you. So this is definitely a nice failsafe. At Mythic Level 5, we're going to pick up the mythic ability called Inspirational Leader. As you're already providing all these AoE buffs to your party, this is going to be very thematic as well. So your allies within 50 feet of you gain a bonus equal to half of your mythic rank +1 to their initiative, their saving throw against mind-affecting effects, and their concentration checks. So this is a really, really nice group-focused mythic ability. All right, at Mythic Level 6, we're going to go ahead and pick up Power Attack Mythic. So this basically just boosts how much your damage multiplier, how much you get 2 damage whenever you use power attacks. So it's just getting nastier and nastier at higher levels, especially when you combo this with your charges, etc. At Mythic Level 7, we're now going to get Unrelenting Assault. So basically, as long as you're fighting against thing in melee combat, you're going to keep getting this nice stacking damage bonus up to +10. And this is key because, again, at higher levels, you're going to have so many attacks. You're going to get this maxed out nice and quick. So you're getting better returns on it quicker at this level. All right, at Mythic Level 8, we're going to go ahead and pick up Iron Will Mythic. And this is huge because basically now, whenever you need to make a will saving throw, you roll twice and choose the higher number. This is such a huge increase in chance of you passing. This is just ridiculous statistically compared to any other kind of +1 or +2 bonuses. This just blows it all away. So we are picking this up a little later because we wanted to get some of these other buffs in a way. If you're really struggling with the game, you can always get this earlier again. But I like to, towards the end of the game, there's some really, really tough encounters. So this is where it becomes extra important. So we're going to want to, you can choose between Iron Will Mythic or Lightning Reflexes Mythic because I always feel like mind controlling and altering affects the most. I'm going to go ahead and pick Iron Will Mythic here, and that's what I recommend. Now, in Mythic Level 9, we're going to pick Ever Ready, and this is pretty much a coup de grace to this build. So it states that whenever you make an attack of opportunity, you gain a bonus on attack rolls and damage rolls equal to your mythic rank. And the number of attacks of opportunity you can make each round is increased by 2. So the main thing you're going to get here is when you basically trample over enemies, you knock them down to the ground, for example, that's going to be one of the ways that you can proc an attack of opportunity. And that's when this comes into play. And obviously, because we're Mythic Level 9, it's going to give you +9 bonus to damage as well as to attack. That is a big one. Now, if for some reason you are not using this that often, you're not charging around and knocking people over with the tramples, which is fine. The other option that's very, very good is Leading Strike. So every time you hit a target in melee combat, you leave a mark, and an ally attack target deals additional divine damage equal to 1d6 for mythic rank of the target and consuming it. So this is really, really good. Ever Ready is just thematic. So I like it for that point. If you're going for a pure power gaming level, if you want to think about this, every time you attack something at Mythic Level 9, it's an extra 96 damage that somebody else can proc by hitting it. gonna be more powerful. So I'm gonna take a wild guess that most people will probably pick this. But again, this is kind of nice and thematic. I'm gonna leave it up to you guys again, because I feel like I'm gonna get comments if I put Ever Ready here as part of the build. People are like, Bleeding Strike does more damage, so I'm going to select this one for the build. But note that I really like Ever Ready from the theme element of it. And again, you're gonna have so many multipliers and stuff when things are not prone. Whenever you do that, it's going to do a massive amount of damage. So pick whichever one you want of these as your final kind of offensive mythic ability. And at mythic level 10, we're going to go ahead and pick up Lightning Reflexes Mythic, assuming you chose the Iron Will Mythic on the previous selection as we discussed. So this is just going to make sure that those two really important saves are going to be saved as often as possible. Now, here are your mythic choices in a snapshot for Seelah. Again, there were some optional choices that I had mentioned throughout this video. If you want to hear about those, just make sure to jump to the appropriate timestamp. All right, last but not least, we're going to look at your animal companion, the super awesome Mastodon. Now, at level 1, you're gonna basically get a choice to pick a class for them. And what it's going to do is, I'm going to show you real quick here. It's going to just alter some of the level 1 feats and then what feats they get, what they lose. Because we are kind of going for a very tanky build for our Mastodon, we're going to choose Bulwark. We are going to be giving up, unfortunately, Evasion. But what we're going to get is for free, we're going to get Armor Proficiency, a Light Barding right off the bat. We're going to get Sturdy, so we're going to get some nice damage reduction that's going to keep scaling. And it's slash dash, so that can't be bypassed by anything, which is really, really nice. So we're going to go ahead and level up here. Now, this is going to be all the same here, so I'm not going to show it every single time, but you're going to basically just bump up athletics and mobility. Now, feat-wise, be careful, because one of the top options shows Armor Proficiency Medium Barding. You may be tempted to get it right away. I would say hold off. You're going to get it for free at level 9. So instead, we want to up the survivability for our companion mount as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and add Dodge to get that early AC buff. So level 2 is very straightforward. We're just buffing the same skills, the 2 points athletics and mobility. Level 3, it's same skills, and then we're going to get to choose another feat. Now for the next feat, I actually like getting improved initiative. Since we're going to be riding on this mount and it's going to move us around, it's going to be nice to basically get on the mount, and if it gets a nice initiative roll, we can get those charged off a little earlier. So this is a nice thing to add. Now, level 4, we're going to get to buff his stats. Now, between all the buffs you're going to get from the mythic paths and his natural progression, they're all going to get really, really high. And what's going to be nice here is we want to get our strength as high as possible, so that when we do his trample, we are much more likely to succeed on a trample, knock people down, proc those free attacks of opportunity, etc. That's where we're going to be pumping that stat. So level 5, and we're going to pump our normal skill points, and then we're going to get an extra feat that we can add. Now at this level, I actually like to add combat mobility, because you're going to want to be charging around to wherever you need to charge, move around, and you will likely proc some attacks of opportunity, and this is going to give you that extra +4 bonus to armor class against those attacks of opportunity. So that's a nice little failsafe. Level 6, and at level 6, you're going to go ahead and get Devotion automatically. So you're going to get +4 morale bonus on will saves against enchantment spells and effects. That's really, really good to kind of protect your animal companion. At level 7, we're going to get another feat. So first, we're going to get the normal skill ups. And at this level, we're going to go ahead and get power attack, so you can kind of, again, squeeze out some extra damage from the pet. Remember, on the earlier levels, your main character isn't going to be the craziest damage machine outside of when you're kind of charging, because you're going to get your own power attack a little later. So buffing up your pet a little earlier to kind of help out with that is a nice touch. At level 8, the big thing is we're going to get another ability point, so we're bumping up that strength again. At level 9, there's going to be two things. Number 1, we're going to get that free armor proficiency medium barding. Now at this point, because we don't get armor proficiency heavy barding for free, it literally doesn't matter when you get this. If you kind of know, if this is not your first playthrough and you know when you're going to get access to heavy bardings, you can hold off on this. But if you're not sure, you're going to want to equip a heavy barding as soon as you get it. So it really doesn't hurt to get it here. So I will go ahead and pick this up. So as soon as you find some heavy bardings, you can go ahead and equip them. Level 10 is going to be just a normal level up. So you're just going to get normal skills increases. At level 11, we're going to get another feat. So we're going to go ahead and just do the normal skills. And for your mount at this point, since it's halfway through its leveling pretty much, we want to start buffing those defenses and those saving throws. So we'll go ahead and bump lightning reflexes first. We've had other buffs to Iron Will to our will saves that will help us out. But now we want to dodge some of those big AoE attacks and try and take half damage on those. At level 12, we have another case where we can bump our stats again. And in this case, probably the best thing is to, again, just bump that strength. Our Dex and Con is going to be naturally leveling from our mythic buffs. At level 13, we're going to get another feat. So again, normal skills. For the feat, we're going to go ahead and pick up Iron Will. Level 14, that's going to be another kind of standard level, so just the skills. And level 15, we're going to get another. And for the feat, we're going to get improved lightning reflexes to get those saves even higher. Level 16 is another standard feat. Level 16 is an opportunity to bump up our strength yet again. At level 17, we're going to get another feat to add. And for this feat, we're going to go ahead and get improved Iron Will to get +2 saves to will saving throws. And then finally, for the level 18, we're going to go ahead and it's just going to be a normal level up, get our skill points boosted, and that's going to complete the companion. So slight correction, we do get actually level 19 for this. With level 19, we'll get one more opportunity to get skill ups, and we are going to get one more feat for level 19. All right, double kidding here. For some reason, I could have sworn because of the fact that I had only 18 levels of Cavalier and 2 levels of Paladin, I could have sworn that it maxed out my animal companion at 18. But apparently it allows me to go all the way to 20. So again, apology about the wording because I could have sworn it stopped at 18. But hey, this is great news. So at level 20, you can basically bump up one more stat point for yourself here. Obviously, going up by 1 here doesn't do much. You can just up your constitution here by 1 to max that out. Max out your skill points. And just like that, this time, for realsies, level 20 Animal Companion, you are all set. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this build. If you've watched all this way and enjoyed this content, make sure to like, subscribe, smash that notification bell. Do let me know in the comments below which party member you want me to focus on next. I'm going to be doing guides for every single main companion. I'm also going to be making additional guides for the main character, but because there's so many hundreds of options, I want to start with these companions because you're going to have a variety of these in your groups and kind of knowing fun and interesting ways to build them while factoring in their strengths and their weaknesses. I feel like that's going to be really beneficial to you guys. All right, as always, check out my Discord and link below if you want to support the channel. In addition to the like and subscribe, you can check out my merch store to get sweet t-shirts, sweet cups, stickers, all that stuff, all those resources, anything you put into that. Not only do you get cool stuff, but it supports the channel directly. And with all that being said, guys, thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.